Electors with the Louisiana Electoral College have officially passed their votes for President and Vice President of the United States. I was at the state capitol to watch this historic day unfold.
This is a historic day.
In a process that occurs once every 4 years, each state's electoral college confirms the results from the presidential election.
Mr. Chairman, I vote for Donald J. Trump for president and J.D. Vance for vice president.
The Pelican State holds 8 total electoral votes, which includes its 2 Senate seats and 6 congressional seats on Capitol Hill. The Electoral College ensures that Louisiana has a voice in who is our president, according to Nancy Landry, who oversaw her first electoral college as Louisiana Secretary of State.
Without the Electoral College, the large cities on the coast would choose our president, and Louisiana citizens would have no voice in the matter. And so our founders were very wise in making sure that the Electoral College process was included in the Constitution so that small states like Louisiana could continue to have a voice in who their leaders are.
At-large elector Christian Gill was elected chairman of the Louisiana Electoral College for 2024. Following Gill's nomination, 4th Congressional District elector Matthew Kay was chosen as vice chair. In the 2024 presidential election, Louisiana voters placed all 8 of its electoral votes for President-elect Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. So how are some states getting some electoral votes while others may have a smaller margin? So right now we have the poll results from this past November 5th election, which casted President Donald Trump, or President-elect, Donald Trump as the winner. So if you can see right here, these are all the numbers of each state's electoral count votes. So that is the added number of congressional districts that you have, as well as the Senate race. So we'll go to Louisiana, and each state will have 2 senators, and Louisiana, in this sense, has 6 congressional seats. So right here, you see the 8 electoral votes. So let's jump to another state, let's say Texas. So if you go here, you can see that Texas has a wider margin. So you see right here, 40 different electoral votes, and that's mainly based on population as well as a couple of other things. Now, if you're looking at some other states, and Louisiana is not too much different than the rest of the country, or at least the rest of the South. So you can see Mississippi is also on 6 votes as well, and you can also check out, believe Alabama is electoral votes with 9. So that all depends on each state's population and how that plays out. And so Louisiana being one of the smaller states, they only have about 8.